Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. Now, I apologize for uploading this late. I've been dealing with some stuff on the personal side. Don't worry, guys. It's nothing bad, but I just had some issues I had to take care of. Apologize for not uploading this earlier today, but it's Bears playoff time. The Bears in the playoffs. No even reason to mention how we got in or anything. The playoffs are here. We go on the road to take on the Saints. It's an exciting time to be a Bears fan right now. All we ask for is a chance at the Lombardi Trophy, and we got it. We got a chance at the Lombardi Trophy this season. But before I get into this, leave this video a like so we can beat the YouTube algorithm. And if you enjoy Bears content and football content, this is the place to be. So go ahead right now and click that subscribe button and also click the notification bell so you will not miss a video. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. I'm pumped. Bears playoff time. Bears preview. Taking on the Saints. Without further ado, let's dive into it. It is Bears versus Saints Part 2, a rematch of Week 8, where we lost by a field goal in overtime to the Saints at home. But this time, it is going to be at Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, and the Saints are going to have their total offense back with Brees, Kamara coming back from being on the COVID list, and you have Michael Thomas coming back after missing a good portion of the year due to an ankle injury. He's back. He's expected to be fully healthy. The Bears injury list is Roquan Smith is still questionable. Jalen Johnson is questionable. Woods is questionable. It's going to be interesting to see if all of those guys are able to play this week. It's going to be interesting to see how all this comes together. The Bears offense last week against Green Bay did not look very good. The Bears defense last week against Green Bay did not look very good. But I feel this Saints team provides maybe a different matchup than we had last week against Green Bay. I feel this Saints team, is a little more dynamic as far as the speed goes versus Green Bay, where they are more methodical in picking you apart. And I think the Bears defensively match up a little bit better against the Saints because I think they can keep up with them speed for speed, not only just up front. But if Roquan is healthy, that makes a big difference. Danny Trevathan has some speed as well. The only thing that's going to trepidize me about the Saints offense versus our Bears defense, Screen is out. Jalen Johnson is still questionable. So the back end of our defense is a little bit, I want to say, young and inexperienced and a little bit suspect heading into these playoffs. And the Saints offense, I feel, is one of the more dynamic offenses in the league, where you have guys like Alvin Kamara, who's coming back and he can do some really amazing things with the football, not only just in the passing game for the Saints, but also just as a runner for the Saints. He does so much for that offense. Jared Cook at the tight end position is one of the more underrated tight ends that the NFL has. And of course, you have Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders at the wide receiver position coming back. I think those two being in the lineup for the Saints will make a huge difference, especially if Jalen Johnson is out. We already have confirmed that Buster Screen is out with the concussion, so that's going to be a hurt to our depth, I feel, defensively, especially when you have Duke Shelley, who really didn't look good last week, as well as Vender, who really didn't look that well last week. You do have McManus, who can come in and make some plays on the defensive side of the ball when he's not on special teams. So I feel this matchup between the Saints offensively and the matchup between the Bears defensively, I think is going to be more of a speed matchup. And who can out-scheme one best, especially with the speed that each offense has. And not to remember the X factor that the Saints offense has with Taysom Hill, with the things that they do with him as well. As far as moving him to the wide receiver position, at times they have him at the quarterback position when he's not starting. They have him in the backfield. So this Saints offense has a lot of weapons they can throw at you, and they have a lot of ways they can be dynamic. And not to mention they have Latavius Murray that spells Alvin Kamara as well. And then you have one of the more accurate passing quarterbacks in the NFL with Drew Brees. But this Bears defense, I think it's going to be a little bit more motivated, especially going into these playoffs, and especially the way that they looked against Green Bay last week. I feel Khalil Mack, especially in a playoff setting, I feel he's going to come out more motivated. I'm still waiting to see more from Robert Quinn. He has to make his presence known, especially in a playoff game and especially against a New Orleans Saints offense that is very dynamic. I feel if he makes himself important, if he makes his presence felt, if he makes some plays, I feel that frees up guys like Khalil, that frees up guys like Nichols, that frees up Urban, that frees up Mack, that frees them up to be able to make more plays, and I think that frees them up in the blitzing package as well, so those can work when Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn are doing damage in the backfield. And honestly, I would want Kyle Fuller to shadow Michael Thomas. If you're being honest, I think Kyle Fuller should shadow Michael Thomas, even though Michael Thomas has been in and out of the lineup. But you know the things that Michael Thomas is able to do when an offense, when he is fully healthy, he is one of the more dynamic wide receivers. And I'm not just saying that because of my Ohio State bias. He is one of the more dynamic wide receivers in the game, and that's why he broke the record for most receptions last year, because he has a multitude of ways of getting open. So I really think you're going to have to play a certain coverage on him. You can't play, I don't think, so soft, because a lot of his route running is more precise, and I think is not really something that they challenge deep. The Saints offense really doesn't challenge you deep. So I feel the Bears need to play a little bit more press as far as the outside goes and mix up the coverages, not only with Kamara, but with Michael Thomas as well as Emmanuel Sanders. And having Danny Trevathan on wide receivers is not going to be a good thing. That is not going to work this week, especially with the dynamic that the Saints have. Having Danny Trevathan cover wide receivers is just not going to do it. Now I'm going to flip things over to the Bears offensively and the Saints defensively. The Saints defense, I feel, has been playing some really, really hot football the past couple of weeks. Cam Jordan and Henderson, the pass rush duo, have been very, very good this season. Cam Jordan has been one of the more elite defensive ends in the league this year. Demario Davis has been playing some excellent football at that middle linebacker spot for them. You have a back end led by Marcus Williams, Janoris Jenkins, and Marshon Lattimore from the Ohio State. You know I got to throw that bias in, guys. But I really feel that this Saints defense is a very, very tough defense. They are one of the more top teams against the run, and they can also slow down the passing game as well. And with a complement with that offense, it allows that Saints defense to play a certain way. So I just feel that this Saints defense is a little bit tougher than what we experienced the first game because of the way they've been playing the past couple of weeks. So what I'm feeling that the Bears offense is going to have to do this week, number one, we have to run block. We are going to have to run the football. I feel the recipe that the Bears used against Green Bay, the mindset that they had was to run the football, play clock control, play ball control. It was a good recipe, but the only problem I feel last week that we're going to have to get corrected this week is that we're going to have to capitalize those red zone drives, capitalize on those long drives, not only make them into field goals, don't make them into turnovers. We have to turn those drives into touchdowns. We cannot kick field goals, especially with the dynamic offense of the New Orleans Saints. There is no way that you're going to beat a New Orleans Saints team that is dynamic if you do not capitalize on those long, sustaining, ball control type of drives. You cannot win football games if you do not turn those particular drives into touchdowns. We're going to have to put touchdowns on the board. We cannot settle for field goals, and we cannot lose the ball on not making it on fourth down. Montgomery is going to be a big part in this offense. I think Cordell Patterson, integrating him more in the running game, I think both of those guys are going to be a huge part in the running game with the dynamic duo that they possess and the threat that they give you. Our offensive line has been playing a lot better, not only just in the run game, but in pass protection as well the past couple of weeks. And they played really well against Green Bay, but like I said, they did not turn those long sustaining drives into touchdowns. You cannot have that in this game. Mitch Trubisky and Matt Nagy and Bill Lazor in that offense, I feel you're going to have to push the ball down the field just a little bit more because teams are going to figure out that short passing game very, very quick. So Trubisky, Nagy, Lazor, they are going to have to find ways to attack this Saints defense down the field. You can run the ball, great. That is very, very successful. But I feel that this Bears offense has to push the ball a little bit more down the field. And I'm going to be interested to see how this matchup between Marshon, Lattimore, and Allen Robinson goes. You have one of the more dynamic corners in the league in Lattimore, and you have one of the better receivers in the NFL in Allen Robinson, who was still a Pro Bowl snub to me. But I just really feel that matchup, whoever wins that matchup between those two guys, if Allen Robinson can win on his routes, if Allen Robinson can beat the physical play of Marshon Lattimore, that is going to really help. And that's going to have to put more doubles his way, and that is going to open more things up for guys like Anthony Miller, for guys like Darnell Mooney, and for Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham at the tight end position, which I think the tight end position in this game is going to have to be key to get those Saints linebackers from playing that short passing game to those wide receivers. If Cole Kmet and if Jimmy Graham are able to get some consistent routes and they are able to get open and Mitch Trubisky is able to find them, I feel that this Bears offense can really possess a problem for the Saints defense, but they have to push the ball down the field somehow, some way. They have to be creative in doing that. They have to get back to what worked in the 3-game winning streak against the Texans, against the Jaguars, and against the Vikings. I think they're going to have to get more back to those rollouts, a little bit more back to those RPOs and bootlegs. Not to say that those are the only ways, but I feel if you mix that along with that dynamic running game that we possess and have him in the pocket at times, and I feel he needs to be able to make plays. He needs to be able to push the ball down the field. I think it can be an inkling for an upset here. Because not only saying that because of my Bears bias, but it's the playoffs. It's a 1-game season. There's a motive. There's a whole different type of ball game when you're talking playoffs and when you're talking regular season. The Bears, I think the key for them to win this game is, number one, who's going to make the better adjustments? Who is going to make those on-the-fly adjustments, in-game adjustments during said game to really just have that edge? If something's not working, or if you see something is working but it kind of deviates a little bit, are you going to make, and are you willing to make those adjustments, especially in the playoffs? Who is going to make those adjustments to win this football game? And number two, my number 2 key for this game, I feel, is Mitchell Trubisky's leg. Those quarterback runs, those quarterback reads, those zone read, RPO type of plays. I think in the first game between the Bears and the Saints, I think the Saints were able to key in more because it was Nick Foles playing quarterback, and Nick Foles is just about as slow as Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. He's not very mobile, and I feel if the Bears are able to use his mobility, and if Mitchell Trubisky is willing to use his legs, I think it could possess a bit of a problem for the Saints defense from keying in on certain routes and keying in on certain plays if his legs really become a weapon. And the last key I feel to this ball game between the Saints and the Bears is putting pressure on Drew Brees. Are you able to get pressure up the middle? Is Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn going to receive one-on-ones, and are they going to be able to win those one-on-one blocks against one of the more better offensive lines in the NFL in the New Orleans Saints? Are they going to be able to put enough pressure on Drew Brees and this Saints offense to just really kind of not even always sack him? Quarterback hits, quarterback hurries. I think if you put pressure on Drew Brees, especially with those ribs, I think that's going to make a huge difference as to, is he going to get the ball out quickly, or it's just going to be a mental thing if the Bears are able to put pressure on Drew Brees in this football game. But it's pick time. My pick for this game is, I'm going going to roll with the Bears on this one. I'm going to roll with the Bears. It's going to be hard for me to pick against the Bears, guys. It's going to be really, really hard for me to pick against the Bears, especially in this type of setting. There's no way I don't think I can even go against them. It's going to be a long shot, to be honest with you guys. To be 100% honest, I really think it's going to be a long shot for the Bears to win this game. But is there a chance? Absolutely. The Bears just have to apply pressure on Drew Brees. They have to use Trubisky's legs and use those as a weapon to key off on some of those routes or some of those plays that this Bears offense likes to run. And they're going to have to be physical, not only defensively, but they have to be physical in the run game and offensively as well. So, as much as it's hard for me to pick, well, it's not really hard, to be honest. I really feel that the Bears have the opportunity. I really feel that the Bears have a chance to pull this upset off. And my score, if the Bears are able to pull this off, I will pick a score of 17-14. Bears win and move on. But that is all I have for you guys. Be sure to leave this video a like. Comment your thoughts down below. It's Bears playoff time. It's so glad to be here. But it's time to take opportunity. It's time to take advantage of it. It's time to win this football game. Subscribe to the channel if you've gotten this far. And if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed this content, subscribe for more to come. But I'm APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great next day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bear down. Bears playoffs. Let's go. Let's beat the Saints. Peace.